Nia Carter parked by the purple crepe myrtle and cut the engine. Saturday air tasted like rain even though the sky was clean. She worked a double night shift at Grady and wanted one thing: sleep. She walked up the porch steps and froze. Her front door was not fully closed. Nia stood still. Her heartbeat climbed like someone rushing up a flight of stairs. She lived alone. She always double-checked the lock, tugged twice, then tested the smart deadbolt on her phone. It showed locked when she left. She swallowed and whispered, "Lord, cover me." A rustle sounded from inside. Soft. Wrong. Nia backed down the steps and called her neighbor. "Dennis, you home?" Dennis Johnson lived across the street. He was the kind of neighbor who returned your package and brought your trash bin back from the curb before you even asked. "I'm here," he answered. "You good?" "My door is open," she said. "It's supposed to be locked. I think someone's inside." "I'm coming." He hung up. Nia's hands trembled. She opened the camera app linked to her doorbell. It showed the last clip, a figure in a gray hoodie at 5:16 a.m., outside angle only, head down, hands in pockets, then the lens turned black. Someone had covered it with tape. Dennis jogged over. "You call the police?" "Calling now." Minutes stretched. Sirens approached, then stopped. 2 officers stepped onto the porch. "Stay back, ma'am," one said. They entered with flashlights drawn. Nia hugged herself and kept breathing slow. She thought about the photo of her mother on the mantel, about the plant she coaxed back to life on the kitchen window, about the little things that made the house feel like a person. A voice from inside called, "Clear, wait, bedroom." Silence. Footsteps. A soft curse. The officers re-emerged with a woman between them. The woman wore Nia's college hoodie and carried Nia's tote bag. The woman did not look sorry. "That's my hoodie," Nia said, her voice small and even. The woman's eyes slid across the porch. "This is my cousin's house," she said, cool like she practiced the sentence. Nia blinked. "No, it's mine." The officer turned to Nia. "Ma'am, can you confirm ownership?" "Yes. My name is on the deed. My mortgage pays for my account every month." The woman smirked like she'd heard that before. "He told me she'd say that." "Who?" Nia asked. The woman didn't answer. The officer guided her down the steps. Nia stepped across the threshold with the second officer. The house smelled like her lavender cleaner and something else, stale cigarette smoke. She was not alone to come inside her own house. That truth settled over her shoulders like cold water. The kitchen light was on. 2 cups sat on the counter. One was hers, gold-rimmed chip, favorite mug. The other was from a drive-thru, lipstick on the lid. A gray hoodie hung on a chair. Nia's refrigerator display glowed from a touch she hadn't made. The smart speaker in the corner played low jazz she never chose. "Anything missing?" the officer asked. Nia opened drawers with careful fingers. Everything looked touched but not stolen. Forks faced wrong. Spices faced backward. The citrus candle was lit, then blown out. She felt fingerprints in the air. She reached for her phone. Her hands steadied with purpose. "I'm checking my indoor cams." In the living room, the mantel camera's feed was black. In the hall, the ceiling cam showed pixelated shapes and then froze at 5:21 a.m. "They knew where to look," Dennis murmured. The officer took notes. "We'll process the scene. The woman says she came with a man who has keys. Says he said he owns the house." Nia laughed, sharp and short. "If a man owns my house, he better be me. Do you know anyone who would do this?" Nia's throat tightened. A name rose like a bruise. Jalen. She had dated Jalen 2 years. He had charm like warm butter and business plans like smoke. When they broke up last summer, he said he hoped she kept the place up like it belonged to him. She blocked him. Nia steadied her voice. "My ex knew my alarm code when we were together. I changed it. He also knew the brand of my lock. He talked a lot about real estate opportunities and quick flips. He could do something messy." Name: Jalen Price. The officer wrote it down. We'll follow up. After they left, Dennis stood in the doorway. You okay? No, she said honestly. But I'm not broken. You want company while you check the rooms? Please. They walked through together. The bedroom had a suitcase on the bed. Nia's suitcase. Unzipped. Clothes folded wrong sat inside. 2 passport pictures lay atop her folded dresses. A fake lease printed on cheap paper sat on the dresser. It used her address and a name she didn't know. Somebody planned to live here, Dennis said quietly. Nia felt heat behind her eyes. They practiced being me. Not on my street, Dennis said. We're not letting that happen. At the precinct, the woman gave her name as Jazz. She asked for water and a lawyer. She said the man who brought her in was her cousin. She could not produce a last name that matched any record. By Sunday afternoon, Nia's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She sent it to voicemail. A text followed. Unknown, we need to talk. Misunderstandings can be expensive. She ignored it. A second text arrived with a photo. It showed Nia's living room at 3:11 a.m. A man's shadow crossed the rug. The angle suggested someone held a phone near the mantel cam. The caption read, "Nice place. Shame if papers say otherwise." Nia's mouth went dry. She forwarded the messages to the detective on the case and to Dennis. She also texted her group chat, Keisha and Sal. The chat popped like popcorn. Keisha, girl. Sal, send location. I'm calling my cousin who does housing law. Keisha, change your locks today. Change the Wi-Fi. Change your soul. Nia breathed. I'm okay, she typed. I'm changing everything. She pulled her hair into a scarf, grabbed her keys, and went to the hardware store with Dennis. They returned with new locks, a signal jammer, and extra motion sensors. Dennis installed the deadbolt while Nia changed passwords, factory reset the cams, and renamed the Wi-Fi to NodeYourHouse_5G. By evening, the house began to feel like itself again. She cooked jollof with too much pepper just to smell something true. She placed her mother's photo back at the center of the mantel and whispered, "I've got this." A car rolled slowly past outside. Dennis texted, "Gray Malibu. Circling twice. I'm getting plates." Nia stood in the dark and watched. She pressed record on her phone. The car didn't stop, but the message felt clear. It was not over. Monday morning, an envelope waited on her porch. Inside sat a notice to vacate, with a fake letterhead and a stamp that looked official until you touched it. It claimed new ownership and demanded Nia leave within 7 days. Nia laughed without mirth. "Come take it then," she said. At lunch, she met Sal's cousin at a coffee shop downtown. Gloria Banks wore a navy suit and a face that had seen everything and stayed kind anyway. "Home deed theft is ugly," Gloria said, scanning the fake notice. "And it's gotten creative. But your title is clean, taxes paid, and the notice isn't filed anywhere that matters. We'll file for a restraining order against unknown claimants, notify your lender and the county clerk, and put a fraud alert on the parcel record. If they try to record something, we'll know." "What about the woman they caught?" "She'll either give up the man's name in exchange for a deal, or she'll sit quiet and hope he bails her out. Either way, don't respond to their messages. Document everything. If someone shows up, call me and call 911. Nia nodded. "I didn't think I'd need a lawyer at 32 just to keep my own house." Gloria's eyes softened. They counted on that. That evening, a text pinged. "Unknown. Don't be dramatic. I can fix this." Nia typed a reply before fear could rearrange her fingers. "Who is this?" "Unknown. You know who. Let me in and we can sort. I'll make sure the girl keeps quiet." Her jaw clenched. "Jalen." The reply came with a smile emoji. "Knew you missed me." Nia stared at the screen, then set her phone down like it had teeth. She walked to the sink, ran cold water, and breathed. Not alone, she reminded herself. She wasn't alone. She had Gloria, her friends, her neighbor, her church, her own voice. The people trying to erase her wanted her quiet. She would not be quiet. The neighborhood chat grew louder after Nia's post. Porch lights came on earlier. Ring cameras shared clips. Captain Reed from the local precinct drove through once an hour for 3 nights. Dennis set a lawn chair on his porch and graded papers there until midnight. He taught 10th grade English and loved metaphors almost as much as he loved his grill. On Wednesday, a knock came at 2:04 a.m. Nia's stomach dropped. The doorbell cam lit her phone. 2 men stood on her porch. One wore a cap and held a clipboard. The other wore a gray hoodie. She tapped her speaker. "State your business." The man with the clipboard smiled at the camera. "City inspection, ma'am. We received a complaint and need to check the property." "Show ID." He held up a card too fast to read. "We can't wait all night." "I can." Nia texted Dennis. He stepped out on his porch into the camera's frame, phone to ear. Blue lights rolled into the street before the men even turned. They tried to walk away like they belonged to the night. Officers stopped them. The clipboard man muttered. The hooded man stared at his shoes. Nia watched from the window, heart hurting but steady, like a muscle learning a new rhythm. She did not open her door. She recorded. She kept breathing. At 3:11 a.m., her phone buzzed again. "Unknown. You embarrassing yourself. We can do this easy." She typed, "Stop contacting me. All communication to my attorney." Then she blocked the number again. Life didn't pause because danger knocked. Nia worked 3 shifts that week. She changed wound dressings, coached a new grad through her first 4, and sat with a patient's mother as the sun rose pale through the blinds. In a quiet moment, Keisha leaned on the nurse's station. "You eating. Trying. You sleeping. Sometimes. You talking to God? On a loop." Keisha tilted her head. "You told your pastor?" "Not yet. I don't want pity. Girl, ask for covering. Pity is useless. Covering is wise." That Sunday, Nia went to church and stood in the back. Pastor Trina talked about stolen things, time, joy, identity, and about getting them back without losing yourself to fury. After the service, Pastor Trina came straight to Nia like she already knew. "Tell me," the pastor said gently. Nia told her everything. The open door. The woman. The fake papers. The texts. The men with the clipboard. The fear that tried to crawl into her chest every time she turned her key. "You're not crazy," Pastor Trina said. "You're not dramatic. And you're not alone." They prayed in a small office that smelled like coffee and lemon oil. Nia cried in a way she hadn't allowed at home. When she left, her ribs felt looser, like the cage opened but the heart stayed safe. On Tuesday, Gloria called. "We have a name." Jazz gave it. She says the man is Marcus Dale. He runs tenant placement services on social media. Quick move-ins, no credit checks, cash deposits, paperwork handled. He recruits people with nowhere to go. He scouts houses with easy cameras and soft routines. He calls it opportunity. I call it theft. Does he know Jalen? Gloria paused. Phone records suggest they talk. We can't prove conspiracy yet, but they're connected. Nia's jaw tightened. I knew it. We'll get a temporary restraining order today. Also, the county flagged 2 attempts to file a deed transfer on your parcel last week. They were rejected for mismatched signatures. Good thing we put the alert on. Thank you. That afternoon, Dennis knocked on Nia's door with 2 bowls of stew. I made too much, he said, which was his way of saying, I made this for you. Nia smiled for the first time that day. You always make too much. He sat on the porch steps while she ate. My students are reading the Odyssey, he said. All that homecoming and danger at the door. I told them sometimes the monsters don't look like monsters. Sometimes they look like dudes with clipboards. She laughed into her spoon. Put that on a poster. Dennis hesitated, then said, I know you don't have headspace for this, but if you ever want to talk about anything not involving locks and legal filings, I'm here. She met his eyes. They were soft and certain. I know, she said. That matters. The courthouse air felt like an old library, quiet, serious, full of stories. Nia sat beside Gloria at a long wooden bench. Across the aisle, Marcus looked smaller without the hoodie. He wore a cheap suit and stared at his phone like it owed him money. Jalen wasn't there. The judge reviewed the filings. Gloria rose and spoke with the cool of someone who believed paper could protect a home. Your Honor, Ms. Carter is the rightful owner. She has lived there 3 years. The respondent's tenant broke in with fraudulent claims. We ask for a temporary restraining order prohibiting any contact and any attempt to enter or represent interest in Ms. Carter's property. Marcus's lawyer argued that Marcus only introduced a client to a vacancy and had no knowledge of wrongdoing. He used words as if they were handles on a suitcase he didn't want to carry. The judge's face did not change. Mr. Dale, your operation walks the edge of fraud. The court grants the restraining order. You and anyone acting with you are barred from Ms. Carter's property and from contacting her. Any violation will result in contempt. Ms. Carter, continue documenting everything. Outside, Gloria exhaled. Good first step. Nia nodded. It still feels thin. It's something we can enforce. Gloria paused. And I filed a civil claim for damages. Locks, cameras, time off work. It signals you won't be easy prey. They walked into bright afternoon. A wind rose and carried city dust up and away. Nia thought, paper can be thin. But paper can also be a blade. 2 nights later, someone knocked at 9:38 p.m. Not late, not early, on purpose. Nia checked the camera. Jalen's face filled the screen, smug and familiar. She didn't open. She pressed the speaker. You're violating a restraining order. He looked up at the camera and smiled. I'm on the sidewalk, sweetheart. Public space. Dennis stepped out across the street without being asked. He did not look friendly. Jalen shrugged. I came to apologize. Things got bigger than me. Nia's voice was flat. You helped strangers come into my home. That cousin girl lied to me too, he said lightly. You know how people are. I know how you are. Jalen's grin thinned. I could still help. I could tell Marcus to leave you alone. He respects me. We already met him, Nia said. In court. Jalen blinked. The smile returned, brittle. You got a lawyer. Cute. We already met him, Nia said. In court. Jalen blinked. The smile returned, brittle. You got a lawyer. Cute. Dennis's voice cut across the street. You heard the lady. Leave. Jalen's eyes drifted to Dennis. Something cold moved across his face, then left. You her new man? Dennis didn't answer. He just held the stare. Jalen clicked his tongue and looked back at the camera. We all gotta hustle, he said softly, like a prayer that failed. Don't act like you better than me. Nia tasted iron in her mouth and realized she had bitten the inside of her cheek. Leave, Jalen. He blew a kiss at the lens and walked away. Nia saved the video, sent it to Gloria, and to the detective with the subject line, Violation, Harassment. The detective called Thursday. We raided Marcus's storage unit. We found blank leases, forged inspection badges, and a folder with addresses. Yours is in there. Jalen's number shows up in Marcus's messages. We're issuing a warrant. Nia leaned against the wall. Fatigue and relief collided like waves. Thank you. That night she slept without waking at each sound. In the morning, she made pancakes and took her first bite at her own table like a ceremony. Around noon, her phone lit with an unknown number again. She almost ignored it. She answered. A hoarse voice whispered, He's mad. He says you made him look weak. Don't be home tonight. Who is this? Jazz, the woman said. I'm not trying to be a part of it no more. They use people. When they done, they leave you with the mess. Nia's lungs went tight. Are you safe? Jazz laughed without joy. Safe don't exist right now. But I got eyes. She paused. Don't be home tonight. The line clicked dead. Nia called the detective and then called Gloria. Both told her the same thing. Go somewhere else for a night. Let officers stake out. She called Keisha. Pack a bag, Keisha said. You're coming to my place. I'm making pepper soup, and I will not accept debate. Nia packed. Before she left, she stood in the living room. She touched the frame of her mother's photo and whispered, "Watch this house while I'm gone." She felt foolish and also not foolish at all. At 1:22 a.m., officers in an unmarked car watched two figures approach Nia's porch. One hovered by the door. The other crouched at the side window. Both wore caps pulled low. The porch light snapped on, triggered by motion. The men froze. Then, with a reckless decision that looked like anger more than plan, one swung a small hammer at the glass panel. He didn't know about the new reinforcement film. He didn't know about the hidden camera pointed at the side, low and mean like a cat. The officers moved fast. Shouts cracked the night. The figures ran. Feet hit sidewalk like drumbeats. One slipped and fell. The other pivoted toward a car and found himself staring at a drawn weapon. Resignation moved across his shoulders. It was Jalen. By morning, he was in cuffs. The detective called Nia at Keisha's apartment. We got him. He's being charged with attempted burglary, violation of a restraining order, and conspiracy with Marcus. We also lifted a fingerprint from your mantle camera casing. It matches Jalen. Nia sat down on Keisha's couch. Her bones went loose. Keisha handed her tea and put a blanket over her shoulders like a mother. Nia hadn't asked. Keisha didn't need the ask. You're going to be okay, Keisha said. I know, Nia said, and this time she believed it like a stable floor. Paper moved slowly after the arrest, but it moved. The restraining order extended. Marcus faced charges. Jalen called a cousin from jail who called another cousin who called Nia's phone and left a message that smelled like old smoke and bad decisions. Nia forwarded it all to Gloria and blocked the numbers like sweeping crumbs into a dustpan. Neighbors brought small things, a pie, a new porch plant, a fresh doormat that said welcome-ish. Dennis installed a brighter light over her driveway. On Saturday, he invited a few neighbors for a grill night. Smoke curled sweet. Music floated easy. Nia made a big salad and laughed at something so hard she bent over and held her side. As the sun dropped, Dennis handed her a plate with the best piece of chicken like he had researched it. How you feeling? He asked. Not perfect, but not scared. He nodded. That's a good distance to travel. She looked at him, at the people on the lawn, at her house outlined in gold. I learned something, she said. Home is not just wood and locks. It's people who refuse to let you be alone. Dennis smiled. Exactly. They ate in a comfortable quiet. After a while, he said, when things settle, there's a festival next weekend. If you want to go. Or we can just keep sitting on porches. I'm flexible. Nia laughed. Porches are good. Festivals are good. I'm open. Later that night, when the last guest left and the grill went cold, Nia walked through the rooms. She touched the doorknobs. She looked out the window where the glass had not broken. She set a vase of flowers on the kitchen counter and breathed in their clean scent. Her phone buzzed with a message from Gloria. Civil case moving well. The city is adding your experience to an awareness campaign. You up for speaking? Nia stared at the words. She thought about the morning she stood on her porch and felt the world tilt. She thought about the slow return